Hi, my name's Athene Eisenhardt. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist. I have a private practice in Oakland, Window of the Sky Acupuncture, and I'm on the faculty at Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine College in Berkeley. We're here today in the beautiful East Bay Hills to go on an integrative herb walk, and we'll be looking at native plants here from the perspective of the thousands-year-old tradition of Chinese medicine. So before we begin, a brief safety announcement. Please don't harvest or ingest any of the herbs that we talk about in this video unless you're under the guidance of a trained professional. So at the beginning of any native plant walk, it can be very helpful to tune into the larger surroundings first. And so here we are. It's spring in the California hills, and spring is the season of the wood element and the color green. As we can see, that beautiful color is all around us. And the color green, or qing in Chinese, can actually be better translated as the vibrant quality of healthy growing plants. And so qing is actually less of a specific color and more a resonance, an energy, a quality that we experience and feel when we look at these healthy, vigorous, growing plants. So just as these plants are embodying the capacity for healthy growth, when we gaze at them and take in their energy, especially through our eyes, that awakens our own capacity for healthy growth and for having a creative vision in life.
Our first plant is California poppy, and we're all familiar with the beautiful orange flowers that appear in springtime, and this special plant would be in the calm spirit category from our Chinese medicine perspective. It acts on the liver and the heart, the two organs most concerned with the emotions and the spirit. It's bitter and cooling. So often, when a person feels agitated, anxious, has trouble sleeping, that's due to heat accumulating in the heart. And the bitter flavor goes to the heart and helps clear and drain that unsettling heat so that a person can relax and go to sleep. That's one of the main uses of this herb. California poppy is also wonderful for treating pain. And in fact, it is a relative of one of our famous Chinese herbs which also treats pain, Yan Hu Suo, Corydalis.
So this plant is yarrow, and yarrow is native to California. Its Latin name is Achillea millefolium. We can identify it by the frond-like leaves that cluster in a central clump at the bottom of a single flowering stalk. At the end of the stalk, we see an umbel of cream white flowers.
This is a plant that heals wounds on all levels, physical, emotional, and energetic. Applied topically, it stops bleeding. And used as a flower essence, it repairs breaks in the energy field. It's wonderful to aid in recovery after accidents or injuries, and we can use it as a psychic protector that repairs the aura. In our Chinese medicine tradition, we can understand yarrow as acting on the Wei Qi, the protective field of energy that surrounds the body. We classify yarrow in the release exterior category. Herbs that release the exterior act on the Wei Qi to expel illness and negative influence from the body. So we use them to treat early stage cold and flus. And at the first sign of illness, you would make a hot tea with the leaves and have the person drink it and go take a hot bath. The yarrow tea will induce a sweat and help the person vent out the illness. And we can also use yarrow to help bring down a fever in a similar way.
Our next plant is star-flowered Solomon's seal, Smilacina stellata. And this plant is in the lily family. And all of our lilies tend to have a moistening and yin tonifying action on the body. Typically, we use the rhizomes or bulbs of these plants to tonify the yin. And Native Americans used many different lily species as food. So for instance, camas, the bulbs of the camas plant, which is in the lily family, were an important food source for Native Americans. This plant, however, is not a food source. We use it to treat dry spasmodic coughs. So where the person gets stuck in a cycle of wheezing and coughing, they're dried out. We use this herb to moisten up the airways and also to relax the respiratory diaphragm. This plant has a particular affinity for the lungs, as we already mentioned, and also the stomach. And in our Chinese medicine perspective, we actually consider the stomach to be the source of fluids in the body. And the stomach, being of the earth element, is the mother of the lung, which is of the metal element. And so in order to have healthy lungs, they need to be properly lubricated. And this herb, by treating both the stomach and the lung, ensures those proper fluids and moistness are part of our physiology. So this tree is a favorite of many of us. Redwood, Sequoia sempervirens. Sempervirens actually means forever living. And when we look at the beautiful, straight, tall, upright nature of this tree, we can think about how it also supports what we call the upright qi in Chinese medicine, our ability to meet and deal with the challenges of life. When we look at the history of this plant or tree, also, in that it has been logged to near extinction, only 2% of the original old-growth redwood forest remains, yet here it is, still thriving, still living, ever-living redwood. That also speaks to the ability of this tree to give us resilience in the challenges of our lives. So on a more physical level, we use the fresh young needles of redwood to help treat lingering colds and flus. The acrid and beautiful spicy smell of the needles travels to the lungs and opens and purifies the respiration. So from a 5 elements perspective, we consider redwood to be a tree of metal and wood. The beautiful aromatic and spicy smell of the needles gives redwood its metal nature and affinity for the lungs. Its beautiful, straight, upright growth gives it its wood nature. And it also has an important wood lesson to teach us in terms of establishing deep roots in order to grow tall to the heavens and balancing our growth with our resources. Our next medicine plant is horsetail, Equisetum telmatea, or Himale, either species we can use medicinally. This is a plant that was actually around in Paleolithic times, during the time of the dinosaurs, and at that point it would grow to over 30 feet tall. In Chinese medicine, we call horsetail mu zhe, and it's in our release exterior category, so we use it to treat early stage cold and flus. Horsetail also has a wonderful ability to clear and brighten the eyes, and we can use it as an eye wash for this purpose. Another beautiful medicinal quality of horsetail is that it's high in both calcium and silica. This makes it a wonderful nutritive herb. So here's a wonderful food herb. These are fiddleheads, and this is bracken fern. So these young succulent heads of ferns can be steamed and eaten as a wonderful spring nutritive food. And we spoke earlier about the quality of qing, young, healthy, vigorously growing plants. And that quality of qing is clearly embodied in these beautiful ferns. So here's another medicinal plant, mugwort, Artemisia douglassiana. And we use the Chinese species of this to move the blood and warm the womb. So often, if a person has menstrual cramps, that could be due to blood stagnating and not flowing properly in the womb. The warming, spicy nature of the mugwort helps soften and invigorate the movement of blood in the body. Our native California species of mugwort is a little different than the Chinese mugwort in that it has more of an affinity for the liver and gallbladder, and we use it to clear damp heat from the liver and promote the flow of bile. So this is a wonderful early spring cleansing herb for the liver. So you might have noticed that this mugwort is growing right next to some poison oak. And poison oak causes an itchy, uncomfortable rash for many of us. And there's not really a whole lot of great relief or remedies out there. However, we can actually combine mugwort and horsetail that we talked about earlier as a wash to treat and relieve poison oak. So interestingly, here we have the cure for an illness growing right next door. This beautiful friend is California Bay, Umbellularia californica. We use the leaves as an aromatic treatment to help open the orifices of the head and awaken and sharpen the mind. Traditionally, in Europe, people would wear the bay leaf crowns to signify scholarship and clarity and purity of mind and thought. We use the leaves as a tea for this purpose, and we can also make a stronger infusion of the leaves to induce vomiting and purify the digestive system. Bay also has another beautiful offering for us, and those are the nuts, which mature in November and December, and toasted, they're a wonderful food. Our last plant is thimbleberry, and we use the berries of this plant, which mature in late summer, as a nutritive source of vitamin C. Also, because of their sour flavor, we can use the berries to help astringe the liver and kidney yin and prevent leakage of fluids like excessive urination or excessive sweating from the body. And the last and most important use of thimbleberry is that it's probably the best natural toilet paper you'll ever find. The leaves are soft on both sides, making it 2-ply. And so in these times of toilet paper hoarding, you're going to want to be sure to remember your thimbleberry. So thank you so much for coming with me on this walk. And most of all, thank you to our beautiful friends, the plants, for sharing their medicines and gifts with us. Again, please do not harvest or ingest any of the plants in this video unless you're under the personal guidance of a trained professional. Thanks.